Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Protoss mirror matchup strategy. Now in this replay, our Protoss player here is EG's in control and our Protoss opponent is Liquid Nazgul. Let's go into in control vision. So what we're specifically looking at today is we're going to be taking a look at how you should be playing Protoss versus Protoss. And really, one of the best ways you can do it is kind of go for a mirror setup and then at some point down the road, deviate from what your opponent's doing to give yourself an advantage. Specifically, what we're going to be seeing is we're going to be going for a 4-gate, but instead of getting 2 gas like nearly all Protoss players do in a 4-gate, we're going to get 1 Assimilator instead of the second one. Just coming out of that 1 Assimilator and then having those other 3 probes that would otherwise be on the second Assimilator mining minerals instead, that's going to give us the extra necessary minerals to get our gateways up a little faster and then to produce a larger army earlier on. Now, it's not going to be as tech heavy. Basically, we're not likely to be able to afford sentries, but we're going to be able to mass up some stalkers and zealots, and if you hit your opponent at the right time before their sentries have been out for too long and before they get too much energy, you may see a force field or 2, but after that goes down, after that dissipates, you should be able to push up just because you outnumber them in force sizes. And again, the reason is not getting that second assimilator that gives you more minerals, that lets you get more stalkers and more zealots out earlier, as well as getting those gateways out earlier, so you just have those units out faster in general. Now what I want you to notice is that our decision and our timing on our buildings mimics our opponents exactly until, again, we decide to deviate at that one point. So what we saw here is actually Nazgul placed his gateway down, and then immediately after, is about 14 supply, we saw In Control place his gateway down. And that's how we're going to play this, because what we want to do, the idea is, you know, in Protoss versus Protoss, especially in these near positions, if one player goes for a 2-gate and the other one drops a gateway into Cybernetics Core, the person with the 2-gate should win nearly 100% of the time. If they push out and they're aggressive and they do their 2-gate properly, they should win. So we want to see, is there another gateway coming down or is there a Cybernetics Core coming down? So we see the Cybernetics Core, and then at that point, all right, I'm safe dropping the Cybernetics Core myself. And so we know now he's not going for a 2-gate, we're going to be okay, and we're going to plan on playing a standard 4-gate. But we need to look for that opportunity, that point where we can deviate from what they're doing to give ourselves the advantage. And like I had mentioned, that point is going to be whether or not he gets that second assimilator. If he does, then we're going to stay to the 1, we're going to mass up those forces very quickly, and then we're going to push out. So we're just looking for that second assimilator at that point. We know he's going for either a 4-gate or a robo build, and that's the other thing too. You want to stay inside of his base long enough, as long as possible, to see if a robotics facility goes down or if he's going for more gateways. The only real threat to you is going to be if he happens to get a stalker out, so you just need to make sure you stay away from that and be prepared for that. So back in our base, you know, he moved out with a zealot. Not a big deal though, because again, since we've been mimicking his build, we have the exact same capabilities that he does, so there's no reason he should be able to overpower us until those deviations come. Again, there's no reason that you should have a problem with that. So stalker coming out, but at this point, again, we're looking for that second gas. That's what's important. Moving in, we don't see a second gas, no second gas yet, and bam, there it is. So second gas goes down. Our decision, are we going to drop another gas? No. This is our deviation. This is where we're taking our advantage here. Let me go back into this build order so we don't miss anything in particular. We saw a 9 Pylon. I should call it something else. We saw a 9 Pylon, follow that up with a 14 gateway. 15 is when we saw that Assimilator. 20 was the Cybernetics Core. 23 right here was our second gateway, and 24 is when we started researching that warp gate tech. And then at 28, I'm going to get the stalker. And then at 28, we saw this additional gateway, and 28 after that should be really soon seeing our 4th gateway right now. So again, what we're doing is we're taking advantage of the fact that he has 2 assimilators and we have just 1. It allowed us to get these gateways out faster, and it's going to allow us to mass up a larger army earlier. Again, it's not going to be as tech heavy. Our opponent is likely, they have 2 gas, they're going to be able to afford sentries, and you have to be aware of that. But the goal is to hit them before their sentries get too much energy and before they can pretty much permanently lock you out of their base with force fields. So coming out with these units until this warp gate tech's up, as soon as this is up, these are going to be switching to warp gates right away. Also, what we're going to be seeing is a neat little tactic that involves placing a pylon just outside of range, or as far as you can, so they can still warp inside of his base. We could probably, I'm not sure, but you may be able to get that over 1 spot and then still warp in on the very edge, but this isn't necessarily bad. He is going to be able to hit it, but only with a stalker or two, and you should be able to push up if that's happening. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're just going to try to get vision of the high ground. Once this is in, we're going to be able to warp up units up top, and that's going to help prevent this permanent lockout from these sentries. So as you can see here, warping in units, we just have the field just overlapping there. That is enough. I really do think if you push it over just one spot, you can still warp in right on the edge. I'm not positive though. That I'd be interested in seeing some testing on that. So pushing up here, and you can see at this point his sentries do not have enough energy after this one to force field anymore, and that's when we're going to be able to push through. And the real advantage in what we're looking at is that we haven't allowed them enough time to build up that energy, and that's the reason we pushed out when we did. Essentially, that push came, if you're looking for your own benefit, that push came nearly as soon as that warp gate research was done. We were building up units prior to that warp gate finishing, and then as soon as it did, we went ahead and pushed out. So that's the end of the game. Liquid Nazgul has left. I'm going to go ahead and pause it here. So let's just take a look at that build order real quick. We started off again with that 9 Pylon, 14 Gateway, 15 Assimilator, 20 supply was that Cybernetics Core, 23 supply, 2nd Gateway, 24 supply, Warp Gate Research, and then a 28 supply. Respectively, we saw these 2 gateways as well. Key things to note: inside of your opponent's base, scouting their buildings, mimicking your build off of theirs, and then deviating for that advantage. The purpose in mimicking is that if we don't, and if we get caught off guard with a 2-gate, again, if we go Gateway Cybernetics Core, he goes Gateway Gateway, Zealot rushes us, we're not going to be able to hold off with just 1 Gateway producing Zealots when he has 2. So that's the purpose. We see the Gateway, we drop our Gateway. We see the Cybernetics Core, we drop our Cybernetics Core. At that point, we're looking for a 2nd Gateway from him, or we're looking for a robotics facility, and that's when we need to make our decision as to what we're going to do. We saw the 2nd gateway, we saw he was going for, as such, a warp gate tech build, and then we saw the 2nd assimilator. This is where we deviated, not getting that 2nd assimilator ourselves, pushing out early with larger forces. And again, keep in mind, it's not just that you're not gathering gas because you don't have a 2nd assimilator, it's that those 3 probes are also gathering minerals. So you're also getting an influx in minerals that are pretty much attained, and that's the goal. That's the idea. Hope you guys like this. Once again, this has been Force Strategy Gaming. If you guys like our videos and you like what we're doing here, then please do go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Also check us out at forcestrategygaming.com. As always, keep watching and keep owning. Take it easy, guys. Something really important to note that professional players do, most all good strong players do, is they continuously bounce back and forth in between their hotkeys. Now they don't click them like I'm doing here, but they actually hit the numbers for their hotkeys. I can't do that because when I hit numbers, it puts me into these guys' vision.